evening, Chelsea. It is so good to be home. It is so good to be in Chelsea, the city that I often refer to as tiny but mighty. A city that models community in every way, that leads with love and with solidarity. First, I want to say thank you to our ASL interpreters, our Spanish language translators for being here today. Thank you to the entire team at La Colaborativa, Gladys, Deanie, and the incredible, our Madam President, President De Jesus, thank you. Thank you for being a lifeline, not just for Chelsea, but for the entire Commonwealth. Thank you to my sister in the struggle and in solidarity, Joan Cromwell, and the Chelsea Black community. You know, one of the very first community convenings that I came to in Chelsea was at Candidate Forum, hosted by Chelsea Black community, and the tightest embrace. And for that, I thank you. Thank you to all my partners in City Hall across the Massachusetts 7th, to our city manager, Fidel Maltez, for joining us this evening, standing up for our shared constituents, to my colleagues at the Massachusetts State House. I know Senator DiDomenico is on his way here. I don't want to miss anyone. You know, I have to say, your elected officials at every level are some of the most humble and the most committed, and they are most comfortable just being in community. So even if I put a sign up here that says, "This is where you sit," they are in community. So if any of you are in the room, any of my elected officials, my brothers and sisters in service on the municipal, state level, school committee, city council, state reps, state senators, please just raise your hand. Thank you all. Thank you. And while you're clapping for them, can you also please applaud their aides and the staff that work alongside them, who are often overlooked in this work. Speaking of, before I go any further, I just want to address the violence that we witnessed this past weekend in Minnesota. The targeted shootings of Minnesota Senator John Hoffman, Representative Melissa Hortman and their spouses, the tragic deaths of Rep. Hortman and her husband, truly devastating that we find ourselves at a time simply because people disagree that we are seeing an escalating political violence. These are public servants, people who dedicated their lives to building stronger, safer communities. And there must be outcry, there must be outrage, and strong condemnation for what happened to them. That being said, these horrifying acts are not occurring in isolation. And because of the moment we find ourselves in, and their strategy is to flood the zone and overwhelm us, it can be difficult to keep up with the injustices. But let me just do a quick recap. In the last week, Donald Trump unlawfully deployed the National Guard to attack peaceful protesters in California. Then, a sitting United States Black Congresswoman was indicted simply for doing her job and conducting federal oversight of an ICE detention facility in her district. Then, a Latino United States senator was manhandled, thrown to the floor, and handcuffed for daring to ask a question of this administration. And then, a North Korea-style military parade marched through our nation's capital in an appalling display of authoritarianism. These events are not disconnected. They are just the latest in a pattern of violent escalation and assaults on our democracy, designed to intimidate and to silence. I remember when I went to conduct oversight and traveled to rural Louisiana to check on the well-being of Mahmoud Khalil. And when I met with Mahmoud, and it's important that we tell the truth, there are not mass deportations happening, there are mass kidnappings happening. That is what happened to Mahmoud Khalil, and when I met with him, he said, I grew up in Syria under Assad. I know what it is to live under an authoritarian regime, and this is it. All right. Donald Trump wants a country where its people are ignorant and uninformed. Donald Trump wants a country where its people are indifferent to the suffering of their neighbors. Donald Trump wants a country where its people are inactive. The fact that you chose to be here tonight is in opposition to all three of those things. You are choosing to be informed. You are choosing to be empathetic. You are choosing to be active. I'm so grateful for the courageous people of Chelsea that are here tonight, because remember, courage is not the absence of fear. Truth be told, we're all carrying some fear in this moment. But the courage is that you are pushing beyond and through that to show up here today and every day. And we need to just acknowledge that. So clap for yourselves. The courageous people of Chelsea. You know, in Donald Trump's America, again, when the midst of this extremist march towards fascism, it's an America where anyone who he disagrees with is criminalized. I have to remind those who think that they might be exempt from the harm of a fascist state. It is coming for everyone. True enough, this is discriminate harm, so some of us are bearing these harms more than others in this moment. But your wealth will not protect you from fascism. Whiteness will not protect you from fascism. This is a harm coming for everyone. And when people asked me, why would I journey all the way to Louisiana to check on my constituent Rumeysa Ozturk and to fight for her freedom, I said, it is Rumeysa today for co-authoring an op-ed, and it will be you tomorrow for reading a banned book. It will be you tomorrow for teaching Black history. It will be you tomorrow for suffering a miscarriage. It could be you tomorrow for practicing diversity, equity, and inclusion. And accessibility. That includes that, yes. So he wants anyone that he disagrees with to be criminalized. He wants the work of oversight to be punished. He wants peaceful protests to be met with military force and political violence to be encouraged. So we have to condemn these acts. And we have to call out, this is the season of call a thing a thing. We have to call out Donald Trump's dangerous march towards authoritarianism for what it is. It is a threat to our freedoms. Y'all, the Republicans like to talk a good game about freedom, but this is the anti-freedom agenda. When people want to control your body and what you can do with it, they want to control your free speech. They want to control what books you can read. They want to control where you go. That is an anti-freedom agenda. Those are the actions of a dictator. And the only way to beat a dictator is with defiance. And we must. Because this authoritarianism is a threat to our freedoms, our rights, and our democracy itself, and to the people in Massachusetts and everywhere across this country and our world. But I do want to take a moment to speak directly to the crisis being felt right here in Chelsea, where our immigrant neighbors are being terrorized by this administration. And the community is carrying deep fear and trauma. People have had their homes raided, property destroyed, families torn apart, rights trampled on by racist rogue ICE agents. Well, we think they're ICE agents. We don't really know because they're masked. But they're operating with little to no accountability. Community members have spoken to me of being targeted without warrants, detained without due process, and living every day in fear that they or their loved ones could be taken without warning from the only home they've ever known. What is the point of all of this? The cruelty is the point. Cruelty experienced by our Chelsea neighbor, Kenya, and her 3 children driving to a Mother's Day church service with her husband, Daniel, when ICE agents in unmarked vehicles ambushed them, broke the passenger side window, forcefully pulled Daniel from the car, and slammed his face in the sidewalk while their children watched on in horror. High school students, children like Belazaro, Benito Vasquez, and recent graduate Giovanni de la Cruz Catalan are being abducted and detained without due process despite having no criminal records. Children, real people, children and adults alike traumatized whose lives have been disrupted and forever harmed. Donald Trump and ICE claim that they are committing these assaults on our communities in the name of safety. Laughable that the most lawless occupant of the Oval Office would say anything about law and order. This is not what safety looks like, but this is what terror feels like. And terror makes no one safe. It does the opposite. It sows chaos, it breeds fear, and it fosters unrest. This administration has openly vowed to bring hell to our immigrant communities. And for too many of our neighbors, they already have. In my opinion, these actions are godless, lawless, and a complete violation of our constitutional rights to due process, void of common sense and compassion. And what this moment demands is solidarity, resistance, and rejection of these attacks on our immigrant communities, because an attack on our immigrant neighbors is an attack on all of us. That's why I've been unapologetic in calling for the end of ICE's unchecked power, for the closure of these for-profit detention centers, and these policies rooted in cruelty. Because no matter your immigration status, your zip code, or your country of origin, you deserve to live in dignity and freedom without fear. So I come here today to reaffirm my commitment to protect and to support our immigrant neighbors, and to do that work with my colleagues at every level of government. That means pushing for real accountability. That means providing legal protections and a pathway to citizenship. That means investing in communities instead of criminalizing them. I really do believe that we're one human family and our destinies are tied, and when one of us is targeted, all of us must rise in defense. So to our neighbors, know that I see you today and every day. Donald Trump has made it clear that his election was never about improving your quality of life or lowering the cost of groceries or your rent. He's coming after Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. This big, ugly bill would rip away health care, food assistance, and other essential needs from 16 million people. Donald Trump is not cutting costs. He's cutting lifelines. They're coming after our neighbors in the LGBTQ community. Black folks, they're coming after us. This administration is anti-blackness on steroids. They are coming after our bodily autonomy, and even though we live in Massachusetts, do not for 1 second believe that we are completely safe as a result. They are coming after our federal workers who administer these essential services and programs to our communities. They are coming after NIH funding and our schools. They want to overwhelm us. And my Republican colleagues across the aisle in the House, they are not operating as a party at all. They are operating as a cult of cowards, complicit in wholesale harm, more concerned with keeping a job than doing it. But family, you know, I've given the occupant enough oxygen. Know that I get up every day compelled and fueled not to fight Donald Trump, but to fight for, with, and alongside you. Because the fact of the matter is that this is not about how do we survive the next 4 years. Truthfully, some days it feels like we're just trying to survive the next 4 minutes. But this moment, I believe, will determine and shape the next 100 years. It's not about surviving 4, it's about shaping the next 100. And so that work, because when we get to the other side, and we'll have to do the work of reconstruction. It's a lot easier to tear down than it is to rebuild. And it is going to take all of us in the resistance and in the rebuilding. Now, you don't have to be a congresswoman. You don't have to head a nonprofit. You don't have to be a council president or a school board member. You just need to bring your gift, whatever it is. Because some of us are going to speak on the mic and someone else is going to make sure it works. Somebody's going to read the speech, but someone else is going to write it. Someone is going to march and hold a sign, and someone else made that sign. Someone else is going to march and have the stamina to do so because they're well fed, because somebody made sure they were. Someone else is going to send a prayer up. You just need to bring your gift, but you need to bring it. And summon the courage in this moment. So before I close, I want everyone here to know that myself and my office are here to serve you. Please use us as a resource. We're ready to support with federal casework on everything from immigration to housing to Social Security checks and more. So if your neighbor or your loved one is detained, do not hesitate to reach out to my office, please. We have one-pagers, Take one or more with you and pass them along. Stay in touch with me and my staff. We are also here to help you with any federal agency. This is a time where we must show up for each other, where we double down on mutual aid, where we keep each other safe. I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper. It is truly the honor of my life to serve the Massachusetts 7th, a district that reflects the best of who we are. And know this, you are not just constituents, you are family. And I will never stop fighting for you like that. All right, so now, if it isn't already obvious from my cadence, I am the granddaughter of a Baptist preacher. But when I answer these questions, I will try to answer them as a Methodist and not a Baptist. Okay? All right, and so now we'll turn it over to our indefatigable